Hello, my name is Amin. I'm a governance and legal specialist with the UN Habitat at the Policy, Legislation and Governance section. I've been with UN Habitat for over 20 years and I've got experience in many different roles and responsibilities, currently mostly advising countries in their legal processes and governance processes. I'm here today to give you an overview of effective urban governance for better participation and accountability in urban management. So basically, we will be looking at how urban governance can improve the quality of life in all African cities through more participation, gender inclusion, transparency and accountability. The new urban agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals recognize the need for inclusive, participatory and representative decision-making and call for stronger coordination and cooperation through multi-level consultation mechanisms and clear mandates among governments at all levels. However, there are numerous challenges that restrict or constrain public participation and more generally inclusive governance. Improvement is still needed in African countries to make the process of public participation in planning processes more inclusive, participatory and most importantly meaningful. It cannot be just a tick-the-box exercise. It needs to mean something. There needs to be an impact. For example, in Uganda and Guinea, the public is only invited to provide comments after the plans have already been formulated or submitted. Whereas in Cameroon and Niger states, there is no specific legal provision for governments to engage the public in decision-making processes. And this leads usually to informal sort of participation and working groups in the urban planning processes that involve mainly the private actors and not the society at large. In some countries, public participation is actually established in the constitution. For example, in South Africa. Even though sometimes it's like this legally established, participation practices can still remain unapplied, sometimes due to the limited capacities of municipalities or for other reasons. It is also quite frequent that there are no context-specific participatory processes that are customized to suit the needs and circumstances of various priority groups. Cities are at the front line of social change. And with such a fast-growing urban population, African cities must implement policies based on multi-level governance, cooperation through public participation, and collective action to achieve sustainable development for all. Indeed, inclusive urban governance allows for the identification of problems and opportunities, the establishment of goals, delegation of the roles, as well as the ability to monitor and evaluate the success of the policies. Citizens have a good understanding of the areas where they live and the local issues that they're facing. Therefore, their involvement in the decision-making process can limit the waste of public resources as it helps tailoring policies to the actual needs of the local communities. Moreover, public participation increases the legitimacy of public decisions and citizens' trust in the institutions, while it also strengthens their accountability. As a result, it can prevent potential conflicts during the implementation phase and generally also reduce the inequalities and social tensions. It also improves compliance. Citizens are much more willing to comply with something that they have been part of developing than something that is imposed. Effective participatory practices are based on the principles of transparency and accountability, which are crucial to promote equality of outcomes and trust in the institutions. This requires that the stakeholders can access information. For example, information can be published on institutional websites. But even more, it is fundamental to establish the independent oversight and dispute resolution mechanisms, which can monitor, detect, prevent, punish, and eradicate misconduct. To improve public participation, all spheres of government must design and implement participatory methodologies that guarantee the meaningful participation, that is not limited just to sharing information or to consult, basically the ticking the box exercise, but that allows citizens to contribute to the actual definition of urban governance. This can be achieved through mechanisms that allow citizens to provide feedback, dialogue with local authorities through town hall meetings, forums, community councils, that allow them to contribute to the allocation of resources, perhaps through participatory budgeting, and to take the initiative to propose and implement interventions of urban regeneration. For example, if we look at spatial planning, the participation of all affected communities should be granted through all the phases, including the drafting plans as well as all the way to monitoring and evaluating their implementation. Finally, just to conclude, the introduction of participatory practices can help build climate-resilient cities, achieve gender inclusion, and upgrade the living conditions, particularly in informal settlements.